All right, guys, so here's some more of the behind the scenes stuff. You've seen me do this before where I'm looking at US currency. Specifically, we've got these Arizona Nationals that are in an auction for the fun show here, 2022. Here is a Globe Bank. We've got Holbrook, two places that you may never have heard of. Of course, Tucson, I'm familiar with that place a little bit. Really high grade note. Finally, this Winslow note, which doesn't have strong signatures but is really high grade. And I'm going to take a look at each of these real quick and see, first of all, what Heritage has to say about the note, and then also, what my bids are and how that's going. So this Globe note here, first of all, one of the things that's helpful for me is to be able to look and see what notes have sold for before. And so sometimes you can look back at some of the older auctions and see, you can glance and see what the different notes looked like. And then you can see, of course, you can see the auction date. You can see the prices realized. So this helps you have an idea a little bit, especially if you're looking at notes that were recent, what they've sold for. And it can be kind of tricky sometimes with the national bank notes because for a lot of these issues, there are so few of them that when you look at the difference between, is the $10 bill going to have more or less, the $20 bill more or less, each note, each grade. And there's guys who get real specific. But if you're just looking for type notes, by the way, look at this, $7,800 for that VF25. And here's just a VF20 that we're looking at today. VF20 on a 10. So let's pretend we're not going to look at the 20s. So there's a 2020, there's a 10. This one sold for $4,500 with the juice, and it looks like it was probably a nicer looking note than this one here, not only by grade, but also, this one's got a lot of heavy marks to it. And what's nice about Heritage is, of course, you can actually zoom in pretty close if you want to take a real close look at anything. You can just start to really get a view of what is going on there, down to the fiber, basically. I'm going to close that screen out and go back. What's helpful is, of course, knowing your budget, but also what's also helpful then is knowing which ones, making notes. So like if you're going to go through each of these, jotting down, I'm not doing it here on the screen, but I can jot down, hey, my top on this note's going to be maybe, 2,700. I'll buy it if it's cheap. You can see their estimate on that one was 4,000. Let's go ahead and just take a glance at this Holbrook note. Now Holbrook, you don't see the Holbrook notes sell quite as frequently, which is funny as I say that. I see a whole bunch have sold in the last 2 years, 3 years here. But these have been, oh my. Well, first of all, we've got the first 4 notes that pop up are just slaughtered notes, and they all sold for under 1,000. This last note we've got, this is a nice VF20. It looks like sold for 2,400. Serial number 129A. Well, that's helpful because you can actually look and see. I'm going to show you that our estimate on this is 2,000 and up. So this one is a lower grade. Not that the serial numbers matter necessarily, but it's a higher serial number. $1,700 on that. So, that one of the things that I can do here is I can say, hey, am I really interested in this note at a similar price point to what it is, keeping in mind that if I pay $1,800, I'm going to pay $2,000 for the note. Is that Holbrook worth it to me? And that becomes your question. Now here I can go ahead and place a bid now if I want to. Or just, you can also just hit the track item button if you want to when it comes to these notes. Or coins if you're doing the coins, of course. So let me see here. You can see earlier that I had bid on the notes, and you can see what their current bid is and what the next bid level is. And of course, this is all within, 8 hours of the actual auction. It actually shows you the number of bidders and the number of people tracking, which maybe that is an indicator of if you can get something here, there are a few people tracking, but there's more bidders. So hard to know exactly what that means. You got more bidders on this Tucson note, which I am probably going to pass on, even though I love the note. There's a series of notes from this issue with all very close serial numbers that are, you got really high grade gem notes. And I would rather go for, I think, one of the notes that's more scarce or rare than for the high grade note that's quote unquote more common. The Tucson notes are a little bit more common. This isn't going to show you because these are lower end notes. Let me see. Here's a AU58 that sold for $1,300. Number 1248, you see the number on here is 1178. So, that's within like 75 notes. So there was a stack of these that got out. I'm probably going to go ahead and pass on the Tucson note, even though Tucson, of course, is where I'm at. Finally, the Winslow. So the Winslow is super intriguing to me because, to me, that's the sneaky tough note to get in this group, because now it is a really nice grade for the note. And if I was really on top of stuff, I would actually have a membership to track and, what's it called, track and date, which allows you to just keep track of all this data. So I'm only using the heritage data, but the track and date, they pull up all the data from other auctions to help you see what other notes have sold for at other auctions. And with paper money, it's great because you can really track that stuff. One of my concerns about this note is those signatures have faded so much. And what's that going to look like in person? Man, those notes are faded. So on this note, some of the older notes are hand signed with ink. It looks like this was printed, but it looks like they printed using a blue ink that faded over the years. Whoops. Let me get out of that. And so, as much as I love the Tucson note, I'll probably pass. I'll probably go ahead and bid the Winslow note up one bid. A part of me is hoping that this, although it's got 5 bidders already and 13 tracking, there's a part of me that just kind of hopes if I can get this note for $4,500, that I think it's kind of a good deal. Banknotes have been selling sometimes at or below estimate. Now this Tucson note, they only estimated at 2,000 and up. So it's really tracking to move well beyond that. The next bid up would put you at the 4,000 range. And estimates are just estimates. So, it depends on who shows up for the party, right? Who's going to bid on stuff. This note also at estimate already at 2,000 and up on the Holbrook, basically after you factor in the buyer's purchase. And the Globe, now the Globe is still, I think the Globe's still a good price. I'm probably going to go ahead and drop a bid in on that in just the next bid up, so that tomorrow when I look at my thing, it can show how I got outbid by one person, because that's what happens. So the next bid's 2,300, which puts you at 2,760. I'm going to go ahead and bid just an odd number, 2,450. I think they'll let me do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and bid on the Winslow. I'm going to bid 3,650. And then now what we can do here is we can hit submit bids, and it'll ask me to confirm the bids. And when it does that, it actually shows me the bid price with the buyer premium. All right, so I'm stepping up quite a bit on that Winslow because of the grade, but I'm still below their estimate. Estimates are just estimates. And if I hit submit bids, I think it'll go through. And right now I can see already that looks like I am going to be outbid. The Globe is already exceeded. See, your bid was accepted, but you outbid and you're the high bidder on here. Now, Heritage is very good showing you all the stuff and trying to get you to bid higher, which is good for people who are trying to sell stuff. You got to be careful as a buyer not to get too caught up in any of that stuff. So, all right. So for now, I may revisit this later today, but I think out of all of them, that Winslow note's kind of my target because it's really a nice combination of scarcity and grade. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.